They told me not to rent this apartment. Everyone I talked to, the neighbors, the old superintendent, they all had this look in their eyes. They didn't really say why. They just kept repeating the same thing. Don't use the second bedroom. Of course, that just made me more curious. Besides, the apartment was a steal. It was unbelievably cheap, especially for this neighborhood. Looking back, that should have been the first bright red flag waving in my face. The apartment itself was pretty normal, except for that one room. The second bedroom had no windows, no closet, nothing but 4 bare walls, a single door, and a light switch next to it. It felt wrong. Just standing near it gave me a chill. The first night I spent there, I was trying to fall asleep when I heard it. A noise coming from inside that room. It wasn't the sound of footsteps, or creaking floorboards, or even breathing. It was a soft, rhythmic chewing sound, like something wet and methodical. I tried to rationalize it. It's just the old pipes, I told myself. It's the building settling. I told myself a lot of things that first night. Anything to keep from thinking about what was really on the other side of that door. The next morning, as I was getting ready for work, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The door to the second bedroom was slightly ajar. Just a crack. But I was absolutely certain I had closed it tight before I went to bed. I even remembered checking the lock. Hesitantly, I pushed it open. I flicked on the light and peeked inside. The room looked smaller. It was almost imperceptible, just a subtle shift in the dimensions, but I could feel it. The space felt tighter, more compressed. I shook my head, trying to convince myself I was just tired, that my eyes were playing tricks on me. That night, my phone shattered the silence at exactly 2:14 a.m. The screen flashed unknown number. Against my better judgment, Primera answered Italiano. At first, there was only static. Then, a voice whispered from the speaker. It was a chilling, distorted version of my own voice. It said just 3 words. It's learning you. I slammed the phone down, my heart pounding against my ribs. I spent the rest of the night with the lights on, staring at the closed door to that bedroom, listening. The chewing sound was back, louder this time. By the 3rd day, I was a mess. I needed a reality check. I needed someone to tell me I was going crazy, so I called my friend, Mark. He came over that evening, and I immediately launched into my story about the weird room, the strange noises, the phone call. He just laughed. He thought it was hilarious. A room that eats people. Dude, you've been watching too many horror movies, he said, patting me on the back. To prove his point, he walked right up to the door. See? It's just a room. He turned the knob, pushed the door open, and stepped inside with a theatrical flourish. Nothing to be afraid of. And then the light went out. Kuslaktat, the switch didn't click. The bulb didn't pop. The room was just plunged into absolute darkness. I yelled Mark's name. No answer. I fumbled for the light switch on the wall, my fingers trembling. I flicked it on. The light flooded the small space again. But the room was empty. Mark was gone. There was no blood, no sign of a struggle. No sound. It was as if he had just vanished into thin air. He was gone, and the room was definitely smaller now. The walls had visibly closed in. I completely panicked. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. The police came. They searched the entire apartment. Top to bottom. They questioned me for hours, but they found nothing. No evidence of a break-in. No sign that Mark had ever even been there. They looked at me with a mixture of pity and suspicion. They told me I was alone in the apartment. They checked the building's records and security logs. They told me I had always been alone. My name was the only one on the lease. No visitors had been signed in. According to them, Mark didn't exist. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was scrolling aimlessly through my phone, trying to distract myself, when I found it. A new video in my gallery. I hadn't recorded it. The file was created at the exact time Mark had disappeared. My hands shaking, I pressed play. The video was shot from inside the room, from a low angle on the floor. It showed Mark, He was screaming. His face, a mask of pure terror, clawing at the walls. And the walls, they were moving. Slowly, silently, they were closing in on him. The space was shrinking around him. And then I heard it. From behind the camera, from the perspective of whoever or whatever was filming. A low, steady breathing, and then a soft, wet chewing sound. The next morning, there was a knock at my door. It was the landlord, an old, tired-looking man. He walked in without an invitation, his eyes immediately fixing on the open door to the second bedroom. He let out a long, weary sigh. "You let it out, didn't you?" he said, his voice flat. He looked at the room, then back at me. "It takes them one piece at a time," he explained, as if talking about the weather. "That way, it can learn." My throat was dry. Learn what I managed to choke out. He gave me a sad, empty smile. How to be you. And that's when the real horror set in, a cold dread that had nothing to do with the room itself. I tried to picture Mark's face. I couldn't. It was just a blur, a vague impression of a person I used to know. I tried to remember how long I'd lived in this apartment. Weeks, months. The memories were foggy, indistinct. I tried to remember my own last name, and there was nothing. Just a blank space where a part of my identity should have been. The room had taken Mark, but it had taken pieces of me, too. My memories, my connections, my past. I turned and looked back at the second bedroom. The door was wide open. The room looked bigger again, back to its original size. It felt like it was waiting. It felt hungry. I think it's ready for me now. And the worst part is, I'm not sure I remember how to leave. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.